Alright, so we've come now to the last little exercise in ellipses, and congratulations, if you made it through all those videos alive, you've done pretty well. So now it's all about freehand, and notice I don't have a horizon line, I don't have a center vision, and that's okay. I could draw one out and that might change the ellipses a little bit, but I just want to freehand everything and just enjoy the process of freehanding ellipses at any time that you want in many different directions. And so we'll come in and get a beat on my hand a little bit so you can maybe see this a little bit better. And I'll kind of move these around, have a little fun with it. And so all I'm going to do is just draw a bunch of ellipses and then get some major and minor axes going as well and see what I've got. And so ellipse, look how simple that is, ellipsing through here. Right, didn't take any time at all, and it feels like it's a little bit on a little bit of an angle. If I wanted that, that's fine. If I didn't, that's fine. So I'd put the major axis would be slightly at an angle here, right? And minor axis would be right in the middle there, and slightly at 90. So we'd have that together now, 90. And remember, it's our axle. So there's our major and minor axis to our ellipse. And then, of course, if you did want to standardize and say, okay, I want my major axis to be, let's put one, let's come out a little bit, make sure that we can see. And if you already wanted to start one and say, that's my major axis right there. Okay, that's my major. And say, okay. And you might want to put the length out of there. And do you want it the whole length or do you want it shorter? That's fine. How wide is it going to be later on? You can decide. But remember, these are ovals. They're not circles. The true circle we have is when we use you can use your compass, right, for that true circle. So there's a pretty decent ellipse already laid down. And then we know that straight up and down, we want it 90 degrees for our minor axis, and I'll just find the center. Right in through there, and that already gave us 90 is just straight across. So there's our minor axis right there. Major in red, minor in blue, right in through there. So let's keep on going some, and I'll just show you some more examples of how this can be done. So let's put a degree out, maybe major axis maybe here, and we can just sketch a little bit, have fun with the freedom of it. Maybe we'll make this one a little bit wider. Okay, and so again, you want to feel the equal sides, so I know I'm going to feel that width. I'm already, you can see me feel the minor axis are sort of kind of already coming out, and so you want to just work on that curve a little bit. And my ellipsing through here. Down a little bit more. It's looking pretty good. I can tighten it up. I might take this side off a little bit. Notice I'm drawing very lightly as I sketch through. It's just sketching. Okay, we're really relaxed now. And sketching through. And let's find now from 90 degrees, about roughly centering through here. So 90 degrees, we'll find our minor axis coming through here, and then I'll just recreate it on the other side and through there. So there's the major and minor axis, and you can judge, okay, where am I off a little bit? So I'm off a little bit, maybe a little shortened through here, so I can take that off. Come through here a little bit. There we go. Looks a little bit better. And you're on your way to pretty good ellipses running through there. And again, half and half of these, the opposites will look the equal part of that. Just keep that in mind. So let's do some more in through here. So let's make one maybe at a different angle. Let's pull one. Let's see, maybe sure you can see it in the camera. Maybe through here. And you get so good at these, you just whip them out. I know it seems like it's it'll take you forever, but we can find the major axis right through the middle. Each side's half. There's the major, minor at 90, halfway through. So we find about halfway through there, right in through there. There we go. And there's our 90 degrees. Let me double check that, make sure I get the 90 correct. You can see that coming through and then over. And there we go. Some major and minor axis in through there. So let's do another one up here. Maybe I'll just start out thinking, okay, maybe it's going to be this way, and maybe it's going to be pretty open, so I just kind of guesstimated already. That's going to be my major axis. So here, that's going to be my length, so I want to make these equal, then I want to come over here and make these equal. Right in through here, a little bit longer. Don't worry about messing up. Just, hey, recorrect. So there's my major axis, half and half. Coming through, just remember, half and half, right? So major axis there, and then minor axis about halfway through. If you're not sure, you can draw a line here and here. Later on, it really doesn't matter. Nobody really cares, but we're doing this for good drawing practice right in through there. There's your minor axis at 90. If you want to double check the 90, put your 90 on the edge there, bring it over, and then just recreate it on the other side. And this is why we study perspective. So you know you can whip this out in simple form, relaxed sketching form. That's the point of this. I'm going to keep on going, do some more. We'll fill this up. Do sketchbook after sketchbook after sketchbook after sketchbook of these if you're just starting out. I can't emphasize enough how keeping a simple sketchbook of ideas, of simple volumes and solids. So I'll start off with a major axis, maybe here, push it over. Keep it simple, and then we'll start to say, okay, half and half. No, that's too, this is too small, so I know that I need to come out a little bit. So I don't have to erase it. Just draw over it. Draw really lightly. Come through it. And you're good to go there. Looks pretty good. Okay, so I'll draw my major axis through that point. There we go. And you can also, if you got a pretty good ellipse, here's a trick. If you got a pretty good ellipse, and it's off a little bit, but you like it, bring your major axis over and make them half and half. So that's not cheating, that's smart. Okay, so let's find the center about, it feels like about right there, so 90 degrees, about right there. Yeah, feels good. Bring that down, and then bring this back over. So there's my ellipse. And remember, you want these two will look the same, just basically they're mirror images. They flip over from that center point. Major axis, minor axis. Let's do something. Let me pull out, or pull in and pull up, so you can see a little bit better. Kind of like spinning tops, aren't they? So I'll pull in a little bit so you can see. There we go. All right, so let's do something. Maybe I'll start off in that, slightly in that direction, but a little bit more rounder, even though it's an ellipse. Right in through there, right, and capture. There we go. We go up and in. Sorry about that. Make sure you can see it. There we go. In a little bit, so nice and equal. Just visually equate them. You don't have to measure, unless if you're going to be that precise about it, and that anal about it when you're sketching, then you should just do formal ellipses. Because sketching is really not for that. It's for like making extra lines. See how this is a little thicker? I don't care. I can go back and tighten that up. That looks pretty equal. So I know I've got my major axis along here. Okay, there we go. Bingo, across there. Now my minor, halfway in between, right on that line, at 90 degrees, right in through there. I'll bring that over. And back in through. There's your major and minor axis. And you can clean this up a little bit. Now you can come back and clean it up and say, okay, I just want to take that out just a little bit. Come on through here, head over. A little bit wider. And that's it. And your arm gets used to a certain angle, and yeah, I start to move my hand around where I feel like it's a better position. And so you've got open ellipses and you've got some really closed ones, meaning that they could be almost on the horizon line. So if they're on the horizon line, again, remember, where do we start with these ellipses? we start them in square planes. So what if you're drawing a 1-point square plane or 2-point, and they're really close to the horizon line? I mean super close, but you can still kind of see it inside there, because if it's on the horizon line completely, it's flat, it's just a line, right? So what happens when you get something really, really flat? Same thing, nothing, no different. So let me draw just a little, like a 1-point would have a flat major axis like that, right? And so if it's really super flat, look how flat it would be. Just figure, you might want to figure out its length. So for instance here, which will be the minor axis in the middle, right? So there's its length, and so maybe it's super duper flat. Come on in a little bit more, show you that. And what happens if it's, maybe if this is going to be the minor axis, maybe it's going to be no more than that thick. You can give yourself little simple guides here, then it comes over to there, and you want the mirror image. Ellipses are everywhere, and they're pretty easy once you know a little bit of secrets behind them. And that's what I'm about, is demystifying drawing, so to get you to your next step and let somebody else help you along that way, or me, or whoever. And so your major axis is right there at 90, which in this case is straight up and down. So there's the minor axis, there's the 90-degree mark, and then like we've been doing, I'll just demarcate that in the different color codes right in through here. Blue and for the minor axis, and red for the major. Now, if this was in the ground plane, this ellipse was in the ground plane, but then we moved it up to the horizon line, it would be a straight line. But then let's say we moved it to the sky plane in the same length as it was in the ground plane, it would look just the same, except that this would be, if it's in the sky plane, it would be the bottom. If it's in the ground plane, it would be on the top. That's why ellipses are everywhere. So they look the same when you draw them, but then the perception, your point of view, is different. So what we don't know about these ellipses, let me come out and then we'll finish. What we don't know about these ellipses is it the top or is it the bottom? We don't know. And so I can tell you that by drawing some lines, whether it's the top or the bottom, or it's a side, or it's 1-point and 2-point. You can start to put lines across. So where you put lines, if we wanted this to be 1 point from the side, from the left side, then we would put right lines across it. If we wanted it to be 1 point looking to the right, we would put left lines across it. If we wanted this to be the top of a can, slightly tilted, we would put 2 lines coming down. What if we wanted it to be the bottom of a can? We would put 2 lines raised on top. That's what we don't yet know. I'm not really concerned about that at the moment. You'll fix that problem really easily, but they look the same when you draw them. They're just oriented in a different position because of point of view. So get used to drawing lots of ellipses, draw them, and then draw them without major and minor axis. Ellipse, right? Ellipse. How about one over here, a nice open, almost a circular kind of ellipse? Not quite. And I'll show you why it's not quite. So here we've got that. It's close, getting close to us, right? But then if I came across here and I said, okay, now I want to compare this ellipse with a circle, right in through here. Here's what a true circle would look like in perspective. So maybe my ellipse was close to a circle, but then it's just slightly tilted off. That's hard to draw, and it's going to look just slightly more oval. So I can make mine just a little bit longer, but then shorter right in through here comparatively, to show you what's going to happen when you start to tilt objects over. So we have a compass circle right here, right? And then we have a hand-drawn, I'll put C for compass drawn circle, CC, and then a hand-drawn HD, E for ellipse. And you see the difference between those two. Just a little bit, but enough to know that they're very different. That's a flat circle. These are all circles. Remember that. These are all circles, but they're in perspective because they're foreshortened, which I've talked about earlier. And now we're just concentrating on now a more formal approach because now they're at 90. I didn't talk about that in the basic section about major and minor axes, but They're at 90 degrees. Okay, there you go. So we went through now in perspective, section 4, which is all about the ellipse. Master them because they're everywhere, and it helps you draw anything you want to draw better, not just wheels or cups or bowls, but the human figure, because everything, all these little ellipses, you could slice my arm and my fingers up into little sections and they would look like ellipses. Okay, I'll see you next time. Take it easy. Bye-bye.